All right, everybody, welcome back. We're still looking at nose tackles, but now we're just trying to find bodies, basically. We're just sifting through the very, very bottom of the defensive linemen, trying to find guys who can be rostered, maybe play a handful of snaps a game, be there in case of an emergency, and can technically do it. But you're not really looking for quality play here. And again, the only reason why most of these guys are even still going to be in the league is because there's a shortage of these guys. These guys that can play in the middle and at least try to hold up. Not all these guys really hold up all that often, and not anymore. But here are some guys that I would consider bringing in if you're still feeling good about Jaron Reed and you're also feeling good about Cam Young. Like they can both rotate in and out and be good, and we just need a kind of a third guy to basically hold down the fort because inevitably somebody's going to get hurt. Now, I don't know if we're going to carry two nose tackles. So a lot of these guys, you might wait until mid-season to sign them. Until you might wait until you need them before you actually sign them. Wait for an injury and then go pick them up. But if you decide to go that path, I think you could get any of these guys for basically the minimum or slightly more, and you'd have a big body on your roster. Lynval Joseph is the first guy. This guy's been around for quite some time. Bounced around, been on the Giants when they won the Super Bowl, been on some good Vikings teams, been on the Chargers, went to the Eagles to try to farm a ring, went to the Bills to try to farm a ring. By the way, he already has a ring, but he wanted more. And great career, but it's starting to wind down now. He's getting up there in years. He is going to turn 36 in October. So there isn't much left here, and the little bit that he played last year was not particularly encouraging. You go back to his stint with Philadelphia, and I mean, it does look a little bit better, but you're still talking about a guy who at this point is probably just about replacement level, and you're just bringing him in because he's slightly better than some random UDFA you can pick up. Again, he's going to cost very little for you. What did Lynval Joseph make in 2024? It was $1.5 million. Probably be somewhere around there for 2024. If you just decide I'd rather have a veteran who knows what's up than a kid who just entered the league, right? So it's not great. But one thing about Joseph is that over the last several years, he spent most of his time as a nose tackle. So this is what he does now. He, in his heyday, used to be a disruptor. Now, not so much. Now he just basically takes up space. Next guy would be a second round bust of several years ago, Rayquan Davis of the Miami Dolphins. Didn't work out there. Could he work out somewhere else? I remember scouting this guy a little bit from Alabama, went to the Dolphins late in the second round, and it just hasn't really worked out that well. 2023 was a little bit better for him, but it's easier to play well on defense when your offense is that good. And also, if you take a look at his usage when he was in Miami, it seemed like Miami started lining him up as a defensive tackle a lot more in 2023. And it seemed like the results were a little bit better because you look at like 2022, 2021, it's awful. And these were years where, according to PFF, they were lining him up mostly in just over the nose. So that's something that you look at and might go, well, maybe he's just not a nose. Maybe he's just maybe he's meant to try to be a disruptor. And I know that's weird for a guy who's 6'7", 335 pounds, but it seems like he actually did a little bit better in that role. And at this, like I said, you're not bringing him in because you're expecting a lot out of him. You're just bringing him in because you need somebody who can do the job on a technical level when the time comes. But maybe this guy can give you reps at other positions. I don't know. But obviously, it didn't work out in Miami. This next guy's a veteran, and he's a guy that I've always kind of been circling around ever since I started doing these videos. Johnathan Hankins, he's been on a lot of different teams in his career. Most recently, he's been a Dallas Cowboy. He's about to turn 32, I believe. Yeah, he's about to turn 32. So he's getting up there, but I think he still has a little bit something to give. It's not like he ever had anything great to give, right? Like he had some nice years for the Giants when his career started. Colts, Raiders, Cowboys. He's just kind of been bouncing around, never really doing anything over the top great. but there is a big body disruptor in there somewhere, and he's got the size to do nose tackle stuff. They used to list him at like 350. Now I guess he slimmed down to 320 and became a little more disruptive. PFF has never really liked him all that much. You got to go back a little bit. You can find a couple years where he did pretty good, but he's done nose tackle stuff in the past. And honestly, there was some stuff that happened in Dallas that indicated he was kind of important because their run defense took a hit when he was out of the game. So Jonathan Hankins, his production seems, I mean, not production, but play actually seems maybe a little bit valuable because the games where Hankins missed were some of the games where the Cowboys got completely bullied on the ground. Of course, they still got bullied on the ground in some games where he did play, so I don't want to read too much into that. But at this point, Hankins, at his age, is probably just a pure nose tackle, and I wouldn't want him to do anything else if he were here. Next up, we have a guy I remember really being interested in last year. It's John Jenkins. So John Jenkins, he's kind of a nomad. He just travels around from town to town pretty much every year. Raiders, Dolphins, Bears, Dolphins again, Giants, Bears again. He was with the Seahawks for 2 games, Saints. Just kind of been floating around this league for a while now. And he's just always kind of reasonably effective wherever he goes. Last year, he actually had 61 tackles for a pretty good Raiders defense, but it seemed like his actual level of play took a little bit of a dip in 2023 compared to some of his previous years. 2022 also wasn't great. If you go back to some of his older years, like 2021 and before, he's graded out quite well, but it's also very inconsistent whether or not he's actually occupying the nose tackle role. He did a lot of 3-tech stuff. He did a lot of like disruptor stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I look at somebody like John Jenkins and I go, it seems like you're going to be catching him at just the wrong time. He is about to turn 35, and there's reason to believe he's slipping, even more so than I think with a guy like an Al Woods. So not so enamored with that right now, but if you want to bring him in on the vet min, sure. Vet min seems like all he ever gets, so I don't think you're going to have to worry about giving him more than that. There's one more guy that I want to cover here. Leki Fotu, another bust, except he wasn't super highly drafted. So Leki Fotu, 4th round pick, went to the Cardinals. He's a big body, definitely got the nose tackle size, got the nose tackle profile. Played a decent amount over the last 4 years, but the Cardinals, I don't think they're terribly happy with what he's produced. It's kind of like empty numbers, it's empty stats, it's empty snaps. It's almost like, remember when we had LJ Collier and he was pretty bad, but he played a lot? It's kind of like that. This guy plays a lot, but I don't think he plays very good, right? Like PFF thinks he's about the worst thing ever. He has played a lot of nose tackle over the last 4 years, so that's going to be good if he's going to be our nose tackle, but none of it seems to be very good. It seems to be a lot of just empty calorie stuff. Cardinals defense has never at any point been particularly good, maybe 2021 a little bit. He is young, but probably just one of these big guys who offers nothing of real value, and that's how you know you've gone too far down into the free agency pile. But nevertheless, this is about the best we can do. There isn't a heck of a lot going on out there in the free agency world at the position. There are probably 1 or 2 other guys that I missed that could maybe work. A guy like PJ Mustipher, I remember he was I think he was a Penn State guy last year, but he's exclusive rights, so if he's any good, he's just going to stay in New Orleans. So that kind of gives you a clue as to why this is so hard sometimes to find these guys. Even the ones that are good are not going anywhere most of the time. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming later, but I think we're done with this nose tackle business, don't you?